You know what made me think of that too? We just watched that documentary on Anthony. Is it Anthony Bourdain?
Anthony Bourdain.
Boy,
yeah.
was that interesting.
Super interesting. And, I would recommend that documentary to anybody. Anthony Bourdain, brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Super creative, brilliant guy. And
perfectionist.
I could relate to him on a lot of different levels, And of course we know his life, ended in tragedy. He didn't have a happy ending. He ended up taking his own life. And
in the end, he ended up addicted to, I don't remember her name, but that actress.
That woman. He ended up addicted to her. So it was sad. It was sad that he couldn't find the help, the peace, the quietness of the mind, and I certainly still, struggle about that with that. But I didn't want this podcast, to be all about me and I just sit here and talk about myself. I wanted to actually talk about, maybe some tools that I've learned, share some tools. I'm in the PMU industry. And my anxiety, my depression, my racing thoughts, it could have prevented me from doing classes, doing, this podcast. I struggle with how I look on video, and I get super, anxious, beforehand. I pit sweat. And it's like, and I think I do get a little irritable trying to get the right camera angles and all that stuff. And
I don't know, does she, Olivia?
Do I, Olivia?
Does she get a little bit irritable?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But you don't get mad at me.
No.
And then,
She's patient
Olivia's so patient. But I don't direct it at anybody. Well, I hope I don't. But I do. I feel myself getting irritable, and that's the anxiety creeping up on me because I'm such a perfectionist. So I'm a Virgo. September 18th, I think Virgos tend to be perfectionists. That's one of our
part of your traits of your sign.
Part of our traits of our sign, and pile on top of that, OCD issues, anxiety, racing, all this. I'm a hot mess, Kat. I'm a hot mess, man.
I still love you.
Yeah,
And I have my own stuff too. Everybody has stuff.
Everybody has stuff. Everybody. Do you think there's anybody that doesn't have some sort of mental health issue on some level?
Right. No, I think everybody has at least a little something.
At least a little something.
Everybody's been depressed at least once in their life.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think I mentioned earlier, I was always, embarrassed, uncomfortable, scared, afraid to open up about this publicly because of, because I teach classes, I lecture, I do all this stuff in PMU. And I don't know. I guess I was just afraid people would look at me differently. They would, I would be judged, because it's hard to talk about this. I mean, I was supposed to, do this podcast like last week, the week before, and I kept kicking it down the road because I was just really afraid to do it. But here I sit and I'm doing it, and we'll see if I launch it or not. But you know what? So I started opening up a little bit about it. And I think what really kind of gave me the courage to sit here today and open up is I did the Pretty Ambitious Summit.
Yeah, that went really well.
Yeah, Sheila Bello gifted me the opportunity to lecture. I called it The Healthy Hustle. And I was able to, I think that was the first time, publicly speaking to other PMU artists, my peers. I really opened up and got really authentic and transparent and raw. Mm-hmm. And it felt good, Kat.
It was, yeah, and it was really good.
And I think it was, and I think it was healing for me. Mm-hmm. And I was so scared to look at the messages coming in after my lecture. I got, just oodles and oodles and oodles of DMs and messages, and it was just those messages so many people resonated with some of the things I was saying, some of the things that I feel, some of the things that I go through. And I mean, one woman watching the lecture, I mean, she sent me a beautiful DM, pictures of her daughter. Her daughter's a weightlifter, young, like 15 years old, and her daughters heard me speaking in the background and stopped and gathered around the computer with their mom to listen to my lecture. And that really super touched me. So it made me feel like, okay, Teryn, this is the universe telling you this resonates with people. People need to know that they're not alone. And because I felt alone for so long, or you feel ashamed or embarrassed, or both, and you try to hide it, and you try to pretend that this doesn't happen to me, and whatnot, and on Instagram and Facebook, we only post the pretty shit, myself included. I don't post pictures of myself or days that I'm down and depressed. The covers of, we only post the pretty shit, and that's what we see, and then we end up comparing ourselves to other people.
Other people's pretty shit.
Other people's pretty shit. And for whatever reason, we think that's reality, right? We think that's reality, but that's the games and the tricks that our mind plays on us, right? Because our minds can play some really mean tricks on us. It can be very manipulative. Our mind and our thoughts can be very manipulative. Can be for me, for sure.
I think for everyone.
For everyone.